Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and it's time to put away last week's comic books. The good, the bad, the facts of life. All of those get put aside so that we can look forward to what's coming out this week, the week of April 17th, 2024. And this is the show that you kind of come in with a positive tip here. You kind of can say, oh my God, hope springs eternal. And all of these books coming out, every single one of them is definitely going to be a 10 out of 10. There can't be any other option there. We know that's not true, but at least you kind of hope it is. Little voice in the back of your head's calling you crazy, but that's normal. But with that, this show is the show that I like to highlight some things I'm looking forward to, and for different reasons. Some are books that I've really enjoyed. Some there are big things happening in them. Maybe even books that I hope get better, but also new number ones and things like that. But before we get into it, I'll tell you the rules. I end up telling you the creative, or actually the title, the creative team, the price, and then I read the solicit, and then the little commentary, and that's free of charge, the commentary, just free of charge there. But also, I really hope that people, when they watch the show, they end up commenting with books they're anticipating. And I say that because there are books that get lost in the cracks, or some books that people aren't aware of, or maybe they don't think they're good, or things like that. I have actually added a bunch of books to my pull list from this show and from people's suggestions. And then also from our Best of the Week show that I do with Gray from the awesome Wakazashi's Tea House channel. Go check him out, and I will put links to him in the show notes or the description of this video. But yeah, I've added a bunch of books, and that's always cool. When I keep hearing people down on comics, I get it. I know the reasons, and I end up talking about a lot of books on our DC Comics and our Marvel Comics podcasts that, yeah, I'm just reviewing them. I'm not really loving them, but I do want to have more to enjoy, even if it's just for me. So when they are suggested, I'm telling you, truthfully, I end up reading most, if not all, of the books that are suggested. I at least give them a try. But here we go. We're going to start with DC. It's been quite some time. I think that I've had 3 books that I'm really anticipating because I think they're pretty darn good. 3 seems like a low number saying it out loud, but it's not really that low with how low the books have gotten. But the first one is something I've been anticipating month after month after month. I'm not saying that I love it month after month. I'm saying that it hasn't come out for months. Batman Offworld, number 4. I miss my Punchbot. I need my Punchbot, and we're going to get them. Written by Jason Aaron, art by Doug Mahnke. It's $3.99. Here is the solicit. In a far-away, war-torn galaxy, Batman sets his sights on the villainous Black Sun Mining Company, but standing in his way is the most ruthless bounty hunter in the universe, a man known only as the Thanagarian. Ooh-wee, is he going to look like the Hawkman's? I think he might. And also, is Punchbot, is he going to give him some little, rounds of practice, little sparring? I hope so, because I like all of that. And I really do like the book. I like Doug Mahnke's art on it. It's one of the books that surprised the heck out of me, being a guy who was down a bit on Jason Aaron at the tail end. When I say tail end, I'm talking like 3-4 years of his Marvel career. But then he comes to DC and felt like he had a little breath of fresh air and ended up giving us the Batman Offworld. Hopefully, though, it ends strongly, because I like to like it. I like to like it. And I'd like to suggest it to people because it's so fun. We'll move on to the next one. It's a book that is part of the Golden Age side. I don't want to say imprint, but I kind of look at it as that. But it is the J. Garrick, The Flash number 6 book, written by Jeremy Adams, art by Diego Aurelio Twigui. That's how you pronounce it, I believe. And it's a cover price of $3.99. The weird thing is I started reading that, and I don't know why I closed my eyes halfway through. That really screwed me up. Don't do that when you're reading or driving. It's not a really good thing unless you have a self-driving car, but I don't have a self-reading solicits machine. I just have myself. I'm just one guy. So here is the solicit. Jay and Judy's battle with Dr. Elemental comes to a head. Doesn't mean the bathroom. It means it's like coming to the big. Can Jay save his daughter, or is this reunion over before it's even begun? That's the problem. That solicit kind of gets me a little sad, because you end up feeling like these Golden Age books, they're going to be done before they just begun. You end up the Sandman. to the lesser extent, for me at least, the Alan Scott Green Lantern book. I know that there's issues, whatever. But this Jay Garrick the Flash book, I've really had a great time with it. It's funny because it's Jay Garrick the Flash, but all I want is more Judy. But I'm liking Jay in it as well. By this point, since Jeff Johns has gone off to do his Ghost Machine stuff, and I'm sure people are aware that means he's exclusive to that. He's no longer doing stuff at DC. Yes, the JSA book will continue coming out until it's over. Issue 11 or 12, I hear weird things about it, but I was waiting for an announcement by now that said, like, say the announcement, hey, everybody, listen up. Jeremy Adams / Robert Venditti, they're going to continue this JSA line. Maybe we'll get some more books. We'll have some fun. There's been no announcement. I don't even hear rumors. I think that I hate to say that it's like dead on the vine. Once this is over, it's over. They're going to look at it as, we gave it a shot. The Jeff Johns stuff and the delays of the JSA book kind of, hurt it a bit. But I really think there's some oomph here that can continue. And I really would like it to continue with at least Jeremy Adams and Robert Venditti. Keep our fingers crossed. Let's see. And if they're going to announce something, it would be, soon. You can't let this lie and all the minis end. And then I hope that we get word that it will continue, even if there's, a bit of delay between when the JSA book ends and then it continues. I don't know. I'm begging to have it continue because I do like it. The next and last book on the DC side of things, it's Superman 13, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Rafa Sandoval. It is $4.99. And it's House of Brainiac. It's House of Brainiac Part 2. The reason I have this on the list for stuff I've been enjoying, Joshua Williamson's Superman, but I did like that first part of the House of Brainiac in last week's Action Comics, and I'm excited to see what's going on. And when we were talking about it on our DC Comics podcast, I hadn't read the solicits ahead of time. I used to do a solicit show and even did it on the YouTube here, but I haven't done it in a while. Maybe I'll get back to that. It's really long show. But I said at the end of us reviewing the Action Comics last week that I really hope that Superman and Lobo team up, because in my mind, Lobo is not going to be very happy that there's Zarnians there. You have the cool play, the last son of Krypton and the last Zarnian. Superman, to me, first off, there's been a lot of Kryptonians, so it's kind of funny to have that anyway, but he would welcome any new Kryptonians with open arms for the most part, unless they come to kill him like Zod. Then he's not going to open arms, but he might, cross them a little. But there's no way Lobo's going to be down with Zarnian. He's not going to be excited that there's Zarnians that survived pretty much his destruction of Zarnia. That is not good for him. And I think the branding, it ruins it completely. So he's going to be really upset. But it says, team up together, the Man of Steel and the main man race across the universe on a hunt for the Lobo army and Brainiac. Can they I like League of Lobos. That's what I like. League of Lobos. Or just the Lobo League, not Lobo Army. I know they're trying to play that Kiss Army thing, maybe. That was kind of thrown in the backup of last week's Green Lantern by Jeremy Adams. But I still like the League of Lobos, right? Or the Lobo Legion. You got to get the LL going. Can they get along long enough to get to them before Brainiac enacts the next stage of his dangerous plans to create a new House of Brainiac? The new House of Brainiac. This guy's making house. It's like this old House of Brainiac. Didn't know the guy was that into real estate. But yes, it's a good story so far. That was a pretty kick-butt beginning, action-packed Pee-wee, as they say. So I am looking forward to Superman number 13. And Joshua Williamson, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm starting to get more and more it was piling up a bit of the stuff that I didn't like. And unfortunately, a lot of stuff that I didn't like were events. So they kind of have a bit more weight to it. And such events as Dark Crisis or that other event, Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth, right? I like to make that joke. It was so ridiculous when you changed the name of a big event after it started. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I'm starting to like a lot of the stuff that he's doing. But we're going to move over to Marvel. Speaking of, creators that everybody loves, the first book I have here is Spider-Boy number 6 by Dan Slott. Everybody's favorite. He is the golden child. He is art by Paco Medina. And I have liked Spider-Boy. A lot of people kind of roll their eyes. I don't know how long it'll last, but while it's lasting, I'm having fun. in what is an all ages book with a character that to me does not feel as forced as some people thought it would, because of the idea that Bailey, Spider Boy, is kind of a damaged character. He kind of is upset. He doesn't have his family. He's not exactly like doing things all the time that are really, really good. At points, he was trying to, get money from people that he saved, things like that. But he's learning. He's just a little boy. Just give him a break. Kid's learning. And I just think it's fun. And we're actually in that. There's a bit of a darker story behind the scenes here that is actually coming to the forefront. So it's Spider-Boy number 6, written by Dan Slott, art by Paco Medina, $4.99. That should not be. That should be at the most $3.99. I think I said it last time I talked about it. Kind of wish it was $2.99. Get rid of that backup. Make it $2.99 so that everybody, including kids, that don't have a lot of that spending change, they spend it all on that penny candy. They do. But it says, at the mercy of Madame Monstrosity, Bailey Briggs has found his way back to the woman who created him, and the lives of his new family hang in the balance. And that has been, like, from the beginning, you knew that this was going to be the big confrontation. There was a big thing going on at the end of last issue, like, oh my God, let's see. And I've been looking forward to it. So if you're not, that's fine. I know that a lot of people don't like Dan Slott and won't support anything he does. That's fine too. Everybody has their own reasons for doing just about everything in this game we call life. And that's what makes things interesting. Sometimes it makes it, kind of hard and awful, but it also makes it interesting, right? Next one I think most people have on the list, Ultimate Black Panther number 3, written by Brian Hill, art by Stefano Caselli, and you have $4.99, and I get that, but enter Storm and Killmonger. Black Panther takes matters into his own hands and embarks on a covert solo mission to deal with Ra and Khonshu directly. Wakanda's conflict with Moon Knight has escalated, doesn't it always? I mean, when you get Ra and Khonshu in the same room, everything escalates. We all know that. Even with spies all across the continent feeding information, Wakanda is overwhelmed. You know what happens, though? Spies do feed you information, but it's like empty. You want more. Give me more information. It's like me at a buffet. That's what happens. Everything changes, though, when a pair of freedom fighters enter the fray. Ultimate Killmonger and Ultimate Storm. I like that solicit a lot. First off, it doesn't spoil, much, but it also shows, because that almost like twists the camera angle a bit, because it did look like Killmonger and Storm were there to like really be the villains, kind of a side villain, kind of like a three-way, you know what I mean? But if they're the ultimate freedom fighters, that actually sheds a different bit of a light on it, and I like it. And a lot of people, I'll bring up the idea of the Ultimate X-Men, very polarizing book, but one of the biggest complaints for people who don't like it, besides the idea that they kind of can't get down with the art and things, is that they want X-Men. It's supposed to be an X-Men team. Let's get some X-Men in this joint. But you do have Storm in the Black Panther book, and I hope that these start to kind of meld into each other. But it also shows, and I keep telling people, I know that you want, Wolverine, you want Cyclops, you want Jean Grey, all that stuff. And I do too. I hope we eventually get it. But in this world where the makers screw things up, you're not able to do that. And Storm, and what she's doing in Africa, that shows you how things are so askew and messed up. It's just that the Ultimate Black Panther book gets kind of the benefit of still being able to be a Black Panther book. The way that things were set up, it kind of is that, crutch that Peach Momoko is dealing with, where you can't really have the big X-Men. I also think behind the scenes, I think Marvel didn't want to have a full-out Dream Team X-Men team, because they'd be afraid then people would just jump on that book and not pay attention to all those awesome books that they've announced coming out with the new X-Men reboot, From the Ashes. Take a couple letters off that last bit, and I think that you really get what they're doing if you can figure that one out. Riddle me this, Tom Brevoort. The next one is a book that I didn't love the first issue, but it was intriguing enough. The issue meandered a bit, and then finally at the end we find out, oh my God, the Ghost Rider's the Hood? You mean what they announced 3 months ago? Oh, so you got that first issue of Ghost Rider Final Vengeance, and really you're just waiting and waiting. and waiting because we know the Hood's going to be, when is he going to, oh, it's the cliffhanger. All right. So I'm looking forward to see this issue. I even mentioned in our review here on the channel that first issue felt like it to me, because we only get the Hood at the end of Prelude, a little bit like that. So I'm looking forward to see, okay, here's where we start the actual story. Here's where I hope Ben Percy is able to convince me that this is a good idea to have the Hood as the Ghost Rider. If that's, people probably have already made up their idea of that, but I'm going to give Ben Percy a bunch of issues. I usually give people, a wide berth for the most part, and I don't mind Ben Percy. He's not my favorite writer, but I think he's okay. Right? Okay, nowadays that's kind of a compliment. I wish my wife said that I was okay at most things. She hasn't said that in a while. Ghost Rider Final Vengeance #2 is written by Ben Percy, art by Danny Kim, $3.99. It says, the new Ghost Rider. There's a new spirit of vengeance in town, probably with a few days to thrill, right? And he's looking to run the place. He's looking to run it. There will be no stopping this rider. The mystery of Johnny Blaze's disappearance continues. That's a weird, jump to that at the end. Maybe have a little transition sentence there. There will be no stopping this rider. The mystery of Johnny Blaze's disappearance continues. How about this? Also, the mystery of Johnny Blaze's disappearance continues. That's a good transition word, I think. But that's it for the big two. But, 6 books going for the big two. I could get down with that. The next thing we're going to do are the indie books. The next and last thing. And I know that with this show, and really, I said, it has really opened up my eyes and my wallet to a lot of other books, a lot of indie books that I may not have ever even attempted, but I have. And now, all excited. But I only have 2 indie this week. There's not a ton of new number ones. Some of the books that I hope people, and I kind of get the idea of what people might suggest, but I haven't read, say, the first bunch of issues, so I'm not going to fake the funk and say, yeah, I'm looking forward to this that I have never read. But there are some that, and I'm sure they'll be mentioned by some people, that I have my eye on and have been meaning to catch up on. And I'll let you know if it's on your list and you're like, oh, how could you forget this or that or the other thing? Some of these I'll tell you. I was planning on catching up, but I didn't get to. But they are on my to-do list. The honey-do list is what they are. But no surprise. First deal, Cobra Commander #4, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Andrea Milana. And I am looking forward to it. And in fact, I'm not only just looking forward to it, but I've already read it. See, this is where I get to act fancy, because I get review copies because I'm a fancy guy. If you could see me now, I have a top hat and a monocle on. I'm like the Monopoly guy. Look at me. Look at me. I ride around in a shoe and I read comics early. I'm the Monopoly man. But it's really good. And it's one of those books where I keep saying every time we do an Energon Universe book, that I go through my list of what I like and there's my rankings. But with Cobra Commander, it's the book that is the furthest away from my knowledge. And it's something that I would never think that because of my lack of the knowledge of Cobra law and things like that I wouldn't like it. That I'd say, well, you know what? Push that aside. I'll read the Transformers and the Duke. But no, I really like it. It's another one of those Joshua Williamson books that's really impressing. And I've had a lot of people tell me that the idea that Joshua Williamson, they're down with him at DC. But boy, you can tell when he likes something and he's inspired to do it. And it's definitely Duke and Cobra Commander. So I'm enjoying them and I'm looking forward. And I'm telling you, it's good. I don't know that that's going to blow people's minds. I always say during this show that I may end up having hey, here's my initial reactions, like a spoiler-free deal. And I wanted to do a bunch of those last week and I didn't get to them, but maybe I'll start doing those more because there are a lot of the books that I talk about on this anticipated show and that I review that end up that I can read them a little earlier because of the review copies because, I'm fancy. But you end up where it says the Energon universe is in danger. Cobra Commander has found a new ally, willing or not, that may just make him unstoppable. Unless, of course, someone is one step ahead of him. A little misspelling in that solicit, but that's fine. I've mentioned that the Energon universe, and it comes out from Image/Skybound. I forget to mention that in the indies so people know. But I love the books, but I really like the solicits because they're quick and they are to the point. The next one, though, and the last book on this this show. Might be a surprise. It's something that Wes at Thinking Critical actually turned me on to. And lo and behold, I'm a Wizard of Oz fan. In fact, The Wizard of Oz is my third favorite movie of all time. Don't make fun of me. And I'll give you my top three. And here's the thing. The first two, they leapfrog a lot. But at this moment, I have to tell you that Raiders of the Lost Ark has actually overtook New Hope to be number one. Star Wars New Hope number two. Number three is The Wizard of Oz. I like the adventure and the fun, stuff like that, but I do really like The Wizard of Oz. I've liked it since I was a kid. And this is Oz Fall of the Emerald City, number one. It's from Zenescope, who's had a bunch of Oz books that are really well done. They are really, really well done. I think that people, if you have any sort of interest, I know, old people's movie, but then that's a timeless classic, but give it a shot. And it's written by David Wool. And for some reason, it does not have an artist listed here, but we'll just go with something. And it's the cover price of $3.99. That really upsets me. Why don't they have that? You're making me look like a fool, Zenescope. I'm looking now. Nope, doesn't have it now. All right, I can't remember if he does his own deal. I can't remember. It's been a while. There are a bunch of different things. What Zenescope does, they put out a lot of really short miniseries. They have a ton of one-shots, and you can kind of follow, some characters that they have. I really like their character of Belle at one point, but I kind of lost track of it, and then, life goes on, I guess. But it's $3.99. And it says, when the fallen of Oz and Earth begin to return to the lands of the living, Dorothy, Glinda, and all of their allies must join forces to discover the cause and fight against the fateful event before the Emerald City falls forever. Don't miss the shocking new series that will change the world of Oz forever and ever and ever. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those things that I probably wouldn't have ever known came out. And then me and Wes have a show that we do where we talk about a bunch of comics, and he had it on his hot list for the week. And I was like, holy crap, like, what is that? And we were talking, and then afterwards I went and read all of the Oz stuff. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. And boy, I don't know if you know this, Zenescope, they kind of have sexy covers. That might be a shock to you all that you may not have known that. It's like the only thing that people know. But I like it. And I even said when we were talking about it, Zenescope is actually their, headquarters. Their deal is like 15 minutes from us too. And at one point, they did offer me and Eric, who are the guy I do the DC Comics podcast with, if we wanted to go and like check out things and stuff. And we said we might, and I never got back to them because I really don't like dealing with people. Get very nervous when that happens. So I could just, and also I'm just a master of disaster. I could just imagine I go to the plant, they're printing stuff up. I don't even know how things work. That's how it goes in my mind. And I end up like I slip, I fall in the printing press, I hit something, everything's going off. There's an explosion, and pretty much Zenescope, they're done. And it's all me. It's all blamed on me. I am the scapegoat for at least 15 people out there. Actually, people would be more upset about the lack of sexy covers, I think, than anything. But that's that. That's that. Thanks, everybody, for watching. One of the things that I go through with this is that I like going where I have my most anticipated books, right? Oh, my God, I can't wait for that Cobra Commander. And then I like to see down the line at the end of the week, and actually Saturday night, usually, when me and my man Gray, again from the Wakizashi's Tea House channel, where you can get the link in the show notes, and please go and subscribe to his channel. He's a great guy. But I like to see what things I anticipated and do they make it to the best of list, because that's kind of cool, kind of gets a gauge. And, when they don't, I do get upset and sad, but sometimes, and also the idea of like, oh, I wasn't even anticipating or knowing this book even came out, and boom, it's on the list. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully people play that game at home as well. But yeah, let me know what you're anticipating. Let me know what you're really looking forward to. And just, discuss things in general. Do that in the comments below. And if you haven't already, it'd be really cool if you'd subscribe to the channel. Pretty neat is what they say down at the rec center. So yeah, give it a whirl. Give that subscribe button a little click, as they say in the game. But that's it. Thanks, everybody. And I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.